about 10 days, we'll be leaving for Rwanda, and we'll be in country for about 2 weeks. While we're there, we will primarily be providing medical care and surgical care for patients who have bladder or bowel fistulae.
International Organization for Women and Development is a non-profit organization that supports teams who go to Africa, particularly in Rwanda, to Kigali, where we perform operations on women who have vesicovaginal fistulas, an organization that is run by Barbara and Ira Margulies, who do a tremendous job and spend an enormous amount of time and effort making this happen.
I am very fortunate to be preparing for my 10th medical mission with IOWD.
I'm preparing for my third trip to Rwanda, sitting here with my odds and ends to pack.
This year will be my 5th year.
I think the thing that overwhelms me with every medical mission is hearing the same story over and over again. And that typical story is a young woman who's in labor with her first baby. After a day, things are just not progressing the way they should, so she tries to get to the nearest hospital or health clinic. It can be 2 to 3 days before she gets there. Unfortunately, by the time she gets there, the baby is usually stillborn. While she's recovering and mourning the loss of her child, she starts to develop leakage of urine and sometimes feces because of damage of the tissues that occurred during labor. Over the several weeks, it becomes obvious that this is a constant problem. Her relationships with her husband and her family deteriorate because of this, and she becomes our typical fistula patient.
It's made even more intense in Rwanda because for many of these patients, their injuries date to the genocide in the 90s. So in addition to living with the consequences of their different fistulas, they also oftentimes have a daily reminder of the violence.
You know, it's considered totally unacceptable socially, and you live on your own, or you live with your family. You can't marry, or you get divorced. You can't have any further children at times. So by simply operating on some of these ladies, that you can get them completely dry and they can turn back into a normal existence, which is a huge quality of life improvement.
Our ultimate goal is to teach the Rwandan physicians and nurses to be able to care for the patients without our help. So obviously teaching is a big part of what we're there for. But I knew that I was going to be helping a lot of people and it was going to be good for me. What I wasn't expecting was to have so much fun. And I think a lot of the reason we have fun is because of the camaraderie of the whole team. We get up in the morning, we typically have breakfast together, we ride on the bus to the hospital together, and then we spend all day examining patients and working side by side in the operating room. After spending all day together, we frequently have dinner together, and then we spend our evenings reviewing charts and preparing for the next day.
The medical students and the doctors out there, so at night we'll go off and give a set of lectures as well as doing this, and then it just keeps going to usually around 10, 11 midnight.
I run every morning with Aditya Dash, who's an anesthesiologist who comes in Kigali is known as City of 1,000 Hills. It's at about the Denver altitude, and it's very fun to run there in the morning as the city is waking up. And
all there as volunteers, we're there to hopefully help as many people as possible, and it's very easy to develop friendships with these people.
Can I be the reason you lose?
challenge that we encounter on the trips is that we have at times limited supplies with us.
It can be hot sometimes, days are long, there can be unpredictable things like power failures and that sort of stuff, things breaking.
One of the things that I've learned is what a luxury it is to have the kind of medical care that we have. Knowing that you have electricity and a light source throughout your entire surgery, a reliable source of running water, easy access to soap to wash your hands. I mean, all of these things we take for granted, and they are real luxuries.
IOWD has really become a part of who I am.
You realize very soon after coming back from working in a place like Africa and step into an operating room here that we have more than an order of magnitude more in the way of resources.
Every time people hear that I'm going on a mission like this, they bring up how great it is, or how they feel like it's so good that I volunteer my time. And all I can think about when people say that is how lucky I feel to be able to do this.
You can just change somebody's life overnight. You can have them take them out of social isolation and put them back in society.
I want to point out this is our would-be bus driver, part-time urologist, Dr. David Glazier, who is seen here wanting to drive the bus that we use to go between the hotel and the hospital. If you do see Dr. Glazier on either in the United States or Rwanda, I suggest you go to the other side of the street or run quickly.